Friends, good evening and welcome into another edition of Live at Night Soccer Talk. I'm Alex Parra. As we continue this marathon, it's basically what it is, of our coverage of World Cup games, World Cup related stuff. We have some serious notes actually today from Latin America, which we'll like to talk about. But we welcome all of you into another edition of our program. Today, by the way, by my count, day number 14, if you can believe it, in, like I said, the marathon that is coverage of the World Cup. Day number 14, June 24th, a little after, it's about 10:20-ish in the evening on this on this Wednesday. I keep getting confused. We're just wrapping up the Mexico game, Mexico in Mexico City with the 3-0 win over Czechia, or the Czech Republic, for many of us who remember it that way. So a lot to get to this evening, some serious notes, which we'll also talk about here shortly. Thanks to all of you that are joining us via X, via YouTube, via Facebook Live, Deportes Nation. Please interact if you can. Send us your questions, your comments, and also maybe your experiences of what you've lived so far in this FIFA 2026 World Cup. We normally start with our friend. Today, our little friend is the official ball of this 1974 World Cup, held in West Germany, by the way, the Telstar Durlast. And they're different models, especially early on, in the design of balls that look very similar. There's some subtleties, etc. And that World Cup, by the way, won by the host nation, which in 78 also won by the host nation. But we're going back to the 70s. West Germany, Netherlands, Poland, and Brazil won through fourth place in 1974. So a lot to talk about. Before we get started, why don't we bring in today the special guest who is with me, a good friend of mine. I hope he thinks I'm a good friend, and I hope he's thinking that I'm thinking that we're at least still getting to know each other. Anyway, I'll be quiet, bring him in, Don Enrique Vasquez. Enrique, I consider you a friend. I hope you consider me a friend. How are you this evening?
Oh, very well, Alex Parra. You can see the verde, blanco, y rojo here on my set today.
You're representing
in honor of Mexico's win. Man, they played a good match, good professional win. Alex Parra, a team that maybe still may not have everybody 100% happy on the offensive side and their goal generating skills up until today. But defensively, you can't argue. I mean, defensively, this team has been super solid. Going into the match today, Alex, they had only allowed 3 shots on goal. They allowed 1 today. Once you look at the final stats of the match, man, if you can play defense, I guess it fits for every sport. Defense wins championships, and so far Mexico's proven they may not be up to par, up to maybe what we expect of a side offensively, but defensively, man, they are lights out so far here in this World Cup.
An important victory for them, Enrique. Many milestones, including the first time in World Cup history that Mexico wins all 3 games in their group. Man, that gives you confidence. That gives you energy. That gives you the belief, Enrique Vasquez, that there's more to come. I'm feeling this way about 2 of the 3 teams that are hosting. Mexico, of course. We'll see what the United States does. Canada, maybe not so much. But and we'll get into that, Enrique, about Mexico, United States, what's coming up in Houston. I did want for a moment, Enrique, to turn our attention to a serious matter that we're just hearing about, Enrique, and what we're seeing. We're going to take a live feed here from, I believe this is Caracas, Venezuela, Enrique, where we are finding out news that earlier this afternoon, a few hours ago, there were 2, not 1, but 2 over 7 in the Richter scale earthquakes. I believe a 7.2 and a 7.5. Not even the epicenter being in Caracas, but I believe the country of Venezuela, Enrique, going through some serious issues where many of us are engulfed in the World Cup, Enrique, but these are serious moments, and our thoughts and prayers, I know it's a cliche, are with the people of Venezuela who are going through a devastating time. Enrique, some of the things I've seen online are beyond description. It's surreal, and it's just so much to take in. So obviously we're thinking about the people in Venezuela, Enrique.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Alex. Like you said, on social media, take a look at some of those videos. I saw a video of a young man or somebody holding a phone, running down the stairs of their apartment complex, which multiple level building, and it just seemed at every level that he was going down, down, down. It just, the walls were worse, just crumbling next to him at his feet. And I mean, he eventually made it out of the building, but I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation where you're literally running for your life, hoping that the building doesn't fall on top of you. Fortunately, it seems like that young man made it, or that person made it out of that building. But yeah, when you see the images, people recording themselves watching the World Cup, or there's a baseball game going on as well there in Venezuela, and the earthquake hit, obviously interrupted the game. Everybody went to the middle of the field to seek cover or just safety. But yeah, it's incredible video, and the devastation is just amazing there in the city of Caracas. As you mentioned, just about, what was it, about 28 kilometers outside of Caracas, the epicenter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, very close to a major urban area, and the devastation is just incredible to look at the videos.
It is. So that will certainly be news that we're following not only today, but in the next couple of days and weeks. And I know we have Enrique Vasquez in Houston, a large Venezuelan population that are a thriving, important part of our Houston community. So I'm sure everybody's on edge about their family members, etc. So yeah, let's keep the scores and the games and the World Cup in context of what's going on there. Interesting times, Enrique, and again, there's just so much yet to have to deal with. I don't even want to jinx anything happening with the World Cup in the three host nations, but this gives you the context of what's really important. Let's switch gears if we can, Enrique, and let's start with Mexico. As we were mentioning, I think so far the script, Enrique, is going better than you could write it. Even Ochoa was able to get into the game today. Packed stadium. Literally, Enrique, this is a huge moment for Mexico, and it's a huge moment that now has many of us dreaming of what could be next, right?
No, absolutely, Alex. First time ever they won 3 matches in group stage. Now to advance, to stay in Mexico, the round of 32 is going to be at home at Azteca Stadium for Mexico. So that's obviously good news for this squad. That going into the tournament, nobody really was predicting in any kind of shape, that they were going to come away with 9 points after 3 matches. And not only that, but to head into this game, into this match, Alex, with everything in hand, and then to that, allow them to be able to get Memo on the field for this 6th World Cup. Why was that so controversial, Alex, for Javier Aguirre to give him time on the field? I mean, the first place was in hand, the match was in hand. Good. I mean, I don't see why that people were so up in arms that this isn't about Memo. This isn't little league. Why are we doing this? Man, he earned it. He's on the squad. The game today was well in hand. So I was glad to see it. I was glad to see it from him. It's not every day that you get somebody playing in 6 World Cups.
No, you're right. We were talking yesterday about Cristiano Ronaldo and scoring in 6 World Cups, something that's unheard of. Of course, he's 41. It depends when you start and how much you take care of yourself. Enrique, with Memo, I think one of the thoughts, Enrique, about the older players is, listen, they're past their prime. Why don't you bring in the next generation and give the youngsters an opportunity? And that's that debate that goes on. We know that Memo, more than likely, Enrique, is not going to be a starter. More than likely, if things were different today and Mexico were fighting to get into or get out of the group stage into the round of 32, he may not have even seen any action. So yes, it's symbolic in many ways. But it's also, Enrique, that lately he's had some games and times when he just doesn't look like he should even be playing anymore. So that's a calculus into it. Making the national team isn't about charity. It's about, as the word you used, earning it. And maybe that's part of the calculus. But regardless, a perfect evening, Enrique, in Mexico City, perfect relative to the score. to the total points accumulated by Mexico. And we're going to jump to a graphic here, Enrique, that I want you to start seeing, because this starts giving us an overview of the teams that are already in. So, yeah, 9 points for Mexico and South Africa in second. I was predicting Korea, Mexico, to be honest with you, when I was looking at this group early on. Group B now has 3 because Bosnia picked up a good win. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. Canada not leading that group, Enrique Vasquez, but still in already. And of course, what Brazil did earlier today, there was a moment there early on that maybe Scotland might pull off an amazing victory that could change their lives relative to moving on in the tournament. Now they're just barely hanging in there, Enrique, with a possibility. But poor Haiti is out, Qatar is out, Czechia is out, and you can see some of the other pieces that are working through what is to come. Let's review, Enrique, today's matches as we were discussing. Switzerland beating Canada 2-1. Bosnia and Herzegovina beating Qatar 3-1. You see the Morocco-IT score, as well as the Scotland-Brazil match. And then the last 2 of the evening that just finished here somewhat 30 minutes ago. But let's talk a little bit about Brazil-Scotland, Enrique. That to me was a potentially really interesting matchup that might have given Scotland a lot of the glory, but Brazil is just too much. They have too many weapons, Enrique, on that team that really never really troubled the Brazilian team versus Scotland.
Yeah, we finally saw that from Brazil, right? Maybe waiting to see it. It finally shows up here in the third match, completely dominating that match. But on the Scotland news, I don't know if you saw Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots. He's already begging the NFL to send the Patriots to Scotland for a game here in the near future. And obviously, the NFL has gone to Europe, but it hasn't gone to Scotland yet. And Scotland is a big American football country. They remember in the World League they had the Scottish Claymores.
I do remember that back in the day.
A little bit of news. I guess all the Scotland fans drank their way to the hearts of Robert Kraft. Yeah.
Enrique, the cultural exchange that we've been witnessing, and again, whether you go for the cliches of, hey, all they do is drink. What is it? The quote: "We're going to drink before the game. We're going to drink during the game. No, we're going to get drunk before the game. We're going to get drunk during the game. We're going to get drunk after the game." And it's the energy and the. I believe they also went to a Major League Baseball game, Enrique, and there was, a routine fly ball out, and they all just jumped up like it was scoring a goal, and just gave us a different look, maybe looking at ourselves from a different perspective, which is always interesting, the cultural exchange, and I hope their fairy tale continues. It'd be great to see them in one more match at least.
Yeah, for sure. And all the way around social media. I don't know if you saw a meme or a post somebody made about the World Cup has been like cousins getting together who never seen each other because the parents were mad at each other. But now it's been a party. It's been so wonderful to see in all the matches, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Canada, here in the States, Alex, that, shame on us for believing what we saw on social media, that we hated each other, that we didn't like each other, that tourists were just going to be miserable here, that they were going to be mistreated, that nobody was going to like coming to the United States or to Mexico or to Canada, whatever the case may be. It's been everything just contrary to that narrative, and it's wonderful to see people get along around the game of soccer, around the game of football, and it's been so far. I mean, I just can't see it really. Any way that everybody that said all those things that were going to be negative, they just have not been present at all.
That's not the reality that this World Cup. Today I was asked, Enrique Vasquez, early this morning. I've been up a long time, and you people can see it. I was asked, Enrique, what is unique, or what something to the effect of what is it unique about this World Cup? I said, look, that it's brought us together. And whether you're a believer or non-believer, what I mean by that is a soccer fan or a non-soccer fan, whether you go for the cliche, sure, let's watch Mexico, let's drink a margarita, and let's eat some Mexican food. Yeah. But we are coming together, Enrique. That's what's unique and special, and it breaks those barriers. I like your analogy of maybe we're family, but since somebody had a dispute somewhere a few years ago, I know there's a cousin there. We just don't see each other. But when we do, we figure out we're closer and we're more bonded, and we have so much more that unites us and separates us, and
Yeah,
it turns out to be fun.
My tia talked bad about my mom's beans, and so they didn't talk to each other. You know, they stole somebody's pots and pans.
Well,
or
they
whatever
stole
the case
someone's
may be.
recipes, or they stole somebody's
Yeah.
husband, but that could be another problem, right?
Yeah, but no, I mean it's been awesome to see, and again, shame on us
Yeah.
for believing social media that things weren't going to work out the way they have, and it's just been awesome to see it. And we're not even halfway done. We're not even getting to the most exciting part of what World Cup soccer is, which is the knockout round.
Yeah.
I mean, these games have been really good, Alex, but now we have, and you know what? In the end, I wonder if this is not going to produce just the best World Cup ever. In that, usually you get teams. Yeah, you have friendlies, you have qualification matches, but then you sort of pull your
Band-Aid?
foot off the gas,
Yeah.
pull
Oh,
the foot
yeah.
off the gas as you head into World Cup play, because you don't want to risk injuries. You're already qualified, but now you have, you know. 3 matches to get going, and you're immediately in the knockout stage. But now it seems that, I don't know, to me, it seems like teams are going to be more fine-tuned, and the better teams are going to be there. So now, before we used to have 32 teams in the World Cup, and then you knock those out. I don't know. I think that now teams are better prepared heading into the knockout stage of 32, and we're going to have a really exciting World Cup from here on out.
Oh, I agree, Enrique. Round of 32, round of 16, the emotion and the all or nothing, the knockout stage, of course. I think it's a huge part. Enrique, not only has it been a uniting World Cup, but it's been a record-breaking World Cup. Yesterday, we talked about how Texas made history. 2 days ago in Arlington, Messi with 2 goals and 5 in 2 games, reaching 18 total, maximum score in the history of the World Cup. And then yesterday in Houston, Cristiano Ronaldo with 2 goals, but now 6 consecutive World Cup scoring. I wanted your take, Enrique, on the World Cup history being made not only in this World Cup, but in the state of Texas. Who would have thunk it, Enrique Vasquez?
Yeah, things are bigger in Texas, Alex. But I wonder if it was Victor Araiza, who asked Ronaldo about Messi. You saw that, right?
I did not.
They
no.
asked him about Messi scoring. Well, they asked Cristiano about Messi scoring 2 goals the day before, and he immediately cut him off and turned to the side and just ignored that question. He didn't want to. He didn't want to even address. Hey, Messi had a good match. Now I responded. I had 2 goals today. I mean, it wasn't a mean or disrespectful question. It was, hey, all these stars are having great matches. Holland had just come off his 2-goal match. So that was the root of the question. You know, they did it. Now you did it today. But he wanted no part to do with any kind of question regarding Messi and himself, which, you know, that's Cristiano, I guess. But you know what? He had a great game. The stars are doing it. Not only these 2 guys, but you know, all over the World Cup. You've seen
Mbappe, Enrique,
Mbappe, of course. Vinny getting into the action today with a goal as well. So it's been fun to watch. I mean, this has been really good soccer. Full stadiums. The energy has been excellent. Obviously tonight at Azteca or Mexico, it was another great performance there by the fans. And again, we're just getting full steam in this tournament. And of course, tomorrow down in the Bay, we have USA coming back onto the pitch, and now you have all of a sudden the 3 host nations. They made it through, right? Canada confirmed today that they're through. No. Yes.
Technically, yes, sir. Yes, sir. They've gone through in Group B. So, yes, the host nations, and obviously USA for now and Mexico leading Groups A and D, respectively, and Canada coming in tied with Bosnia and Herzegovina, but I believe they pick up the 2nd place. And Bosnia and Herzegovina will be with the 4 points, one of the best 3rd places that gets into the round of 32. And Enrique, back, if you don't mind, a little bit about Messi and Ronaldo. We were talking with Victor last night about the next generation. We're living history. We may appreciate this now, Enrique, as another golden age of remember when Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo were playing simultaneously. And of course, they played in La Liga, they played in Europe, and then they culminated when they came to the United States and the Canada, Mexico, United States World Cup. Are we going to look back and say, man, we missed those days because there's nobody else right behind them to basically, this might be their last World Cup, Enrique. I mean, anything's possible with these 2. But this may be an end of an era. Do we lament it, or should we just embrace it and enjoy it while it lasts?
Well, I mean, they're going to play another 5, 10 years in MLS right after this season, after this World Cup.
Maybe.
So we may be able to see much more of these two guys down the road. But no, it's been. I hope that everybody appreciates it. I hope this isn't like going back to football more the things that I know. As far as everybody couldn't wait for Tom Brady to retire and for that dynasty to crumble. Appreciate them. I mean, because they don't necessarily come around every World Cup. Stars like this, especially like he is now the leading scorer in Portugal history. Messi with what he's done all-time World Cups. I mean, they've been special to watch, and let's see what they can give us here the rest of the way.
The rest of the way, Enrique continues with today was the first day of the last match of the groups. Let's take a look at what's coming up, Enrique, tomorrow. And of course, we'll talk about the United States here shortly. But again, the match is coming simultaneous. And, it's something we're used to, Enrique, that we follow World Cup soccer and major competitions. The main reason for that is so that there's no manipulation, right? Like back in the day where you could see a result and then you would change your lineup and or literally make an arrangement with another country to say, listen, if we tie 2-2, we're both in. So let's do that. Do you still like that, Enrique? Do you think we're beyond the simultaneous matches? Because we, some of us that watch, have to juggle the split screens, don't we?
Oh, man, watch one on TV, watch one on your phone. You can do it. I mean, it's easier nowadays than before. Before, remember, Alex, in your day, you had to actually get up. Yeah, you actually had to get up and walk to the TV and turn the dial, right?
I remember. Well, I was the remote control for my father, who would throw the beer bottle in the back of my head, right. And I had to change the channel. That's the way it worked. Yeah. And I still remember it was the 78-82 World Cup where we had to we watched only the final and deferred.
Yeah.
If you remember that we didn't have live games back in the day.
The 82 World Cup here in Houston, I remember watching it on delay on PBS. PBS had the games here in Houston. Yeah, there was no live anything. We saw the final, the championship. I think ABC Wide World of Sports carried it.
Yes, sir.
Only because it was either that or a hammer throw from West Germany or something. But but we watched. Yeah, that was it. So how far have we come? That was 1982. We were kids, but that was the only way to watch it.
Some of us. I was in my third marriage, Enrique, and then those kids are now
at 14.
Exactly, grandkids. Yes, you just mentioned watch one on your phone, watch one on your TV, Enrique. Yes, we're so blessed. Of course, I've got 20 monitors in front of me, but you could literally watch these simultaneously, and technology has made it so much more accessible. Yeah. Whereas before, if you remember the Indy 500, Enrique, the Indianapolis 500, for years was deferred and played at night. And you and I have had debates about this, how live sports are it, but somehow they still got the ratings. And I guess because of the lack of technology, some people didn't know what had happened yet, even though the race had already been won or lost and ran. It's so much better these days, Enrique, to have that immediate response, if you will. And let's talk about this piece, Enrique. Let's say tonight, and once again, the Fan Fest in Edo was full. There was a good-sized crowd, not as many as the first crowd for the Mexico match. There are so many places now that we can gather to watch it. You talked about this World Cup uniting us, Enrique. What about the technology that also allows us to share it with others? Maybe we're not in Azteca. I still call it Azteca, in Mexico City Stadium, but we're still feeling it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my cousin Onisa was actually at Azteca today to watch the game. So she sent pictures, she sent videos. Happy for her to be able to have this opportunity. And again, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago as we were heading into the tournament. How my uncle he took the chance and took the kids out, my cousins, to the World Cup in '94 in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. And a memory that they will forever cherish. My uncle passed away in 2022 from ALS, but that's why this World Cup and this opportunity for her was so special, and so brought back memories for her to spend that time with her dad, my uncle, and her brothers. Again, just awesome memories for everybody, and even if you're not there, you are there with all the fans, and having a chance today. Actually, I watched the second half of the Mexico game from a broadcast out of Mexico. They were telling everybody, "Hey, don't go to the Ángel de la Independencia. We're full. Go somewhere else. Find somewhere else because that's already packed." And this was like halfway through the second half. So yeah, technology is awesome. Information gets out, and now tomorrow when we see the videos of everybody celebrating out there, it's going to be awesome.
Enrique, speaking of tomorrow, of course, we've got the United States and Turkey. We discussed this a few days back here on this program about what Pochettino should or shouldn't do with the 4 players carrying the yellow cards, sit them down. Can the United States, Enrique, do what Mexico did, meaning win the group outright and then keep riding that wave into the round of 32?
Well, he's already said, Alex, that they're going to sit. They're not going to start. I don't know if they're going to come in. If you're not going to start, I mean, might as well just sit the whole game and just not be available for the match. And then obviously the other question is Pulisic. I can't imagine he's going to play either. There's no need for him to rush out there. But he did mention, Pochettino, that he hopes that the guys that step onto the pitch, and there may be other guys that also come off the bench just to get some time, that he hopes that their attitude and their mindset is that this is the final of the World Cup. Play it as such. So you can have that opportunity, again, make history for the first time the U.S. winning all group stage matches, just like Mexico has just accomplished. So that would be, obviously impressive for this team, because this would mean if they happen to do so, they controlled every one of the matches, Alex. Not only did, like they used to, come up with a result. Counter attack, and maybe you find the defense not set up correctly, or out of shape. Now they're dictating pace, dictating matches, and that's something that, man, I don't know that we've ever seen the U.S. do, especially at this type of tournament. They maybe have done that before, Alex, in CONCACAF, but never in the World Cup. And if they can pull this off, I mean, it would be really impressive, especially obviously with an alternate lineup tomorrow against Turkey.
I got a text this morning, this afternoon before the Mexico match about, hey, Mexico's playing. The text was, hey, who is the big rival of Mexico? And I did not hesitate to say it's the United States. That's what this rivalry has become. And we're not quite yet there, Enrique, and tomorrow we'll have our brackets starting to build. I don't believe there's a pathway for these two to face each other other than in the final, if I'm not mistaken. and someone's going to have to maybe correct me on that. But my point is this, Enrique. Whether the United States picks up 3 points, 1 point, or no points, this already looks like Mexico and United States and CONCACAF, other than IT, of course, Panama, who didn't go anywhere, but the host nations, let's put it in that context, are in the top 32 countries in the world. And with one victory by any one of those teams, you're now talking top 16. You work through a couple of miracles, Enrique, you're talking a serious contender to be, I can't believe I'm saying this, a top 10 or top 5 nation in the world. That you mentioned 1994. The approach to playing was so much different back then. The team with Tab Ramos, etc. It was about hanging in there, and you're right, waiting for the right opportunity in a counterattack, or finding one play where the opponent wasn't ready and getting a result that way. But when you start playing and dictating and imposing your style and or your cadence to the game, I think it's a different level. No, I know it's a different level, Enrique, than we've ever had in the United States. And even in Mexico, Mexico's never done this. I'm going to repeat it. Never have they won every game in the group stage. It's another milestone, another historic evening, in this case for Mexico.
It's finally paying off, Alex. I think all these foreign developed players hooked up with a coach that has that style as well in mind has finally paid off. I don't think that was the case before. Obviously, none of the coaches that had been, other than Bora back in the day, but back then he didn't have the talent on the pitch to go along with whatever experience he had, asking the guys to do whatever he had in mind. So now everything has come together. And again, I go back to everybody talks about how the U.S. doesn't develop players. Okay, they don't. I don't see a problem with it, because they all get developed in Europe. Alex, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the best players from the U.S. basically polishing off their skills and working every day with the pressure that is playing in Europe?
Yes, sir. Look, the criticism might be that, well, let's keep them here so we can improve our domestic league and leagues and then get to that point. But Enrique, if the competition in Europe is already there, and the reward for having them there is that the national team improves. That speaks for itself. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think that's ever going to stop anytime.
No.
And it shouldn't.
No.
There's no rule that says, well, no, we're going to get better here when we build our second teams, our academy teams. Let those players, both on the men's and women's side, experience something different. That prepares them for international play by seeing different styles, by seeing different ways of training. It's almost, you could argue, Enrique, the opposite. It's selfish to keep them here.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, how long is it going to take, really, Alex, for MLS to be competitive as a league, top to bottom, with anything to, across the pond? I don't know.
Another generation. We won't be here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. So again, nothing wrong with this. And then also the relegation argument about here to states, just the way that the format is of how the franchises are built and structured, Alex. But I don't see how, the city of Houston is going to build stadiums and all of a sudden they're going to go to the second division.
No.
What do you do with that stadium? What do you do with that facility and the investors and the money that it takes to put it together? So again, I don't, everybody cries for, we need relegation here in the MLS and US. That system just won't work here.
No, it won't work. And Enrique, and to be honest with you, it's the protection of that. And I'm using that word intentionally is necessary, because this isn't an altruistic enterprise. This isn't a bunch of, and I'm going to say this, and someone will get mad at me. This isn't a bunch of people from a small town saying, look, we're all investing in this, and look at the players. They're coming here because they love our bakery. No, this is a business. And how do you get government subsidized stadiums and training facilities and get serious about a business when it can be pulled out under you if you have one bad season? The NFL has done an amazing job, Enrique, in knowing that this is a business, and the rights have to go with it. I think it's great that the USL, for instance, has a second and third and fourth division. And I've heard, and again, I'm going to get beat up for this, Enrique. I've heard the very, I think it's the innocent argument that, we're going to start up a team. I'm going to throw out of town. I'm sure someone's going to write me a letter in Lubbock, Texas. And Lubbock one day is going to be playing in the MLS, and Messi's going to go to Lubbock to visit. That's just not realistic. I don't think Lubbock can sustain a stadium with 20,000 people on a regular basis. And people from Lubbock are going to get mad at me. But that just currently,
well, I mean, Alex,
it's not going to happen.
It's been hard enough to do it here in Houston.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So
it's just a different thing.
I think it's romantic. I think it's nice to think about moving up from, playing in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, winning the 5th division, and what is this club? Wrexham, Enrique,
Wrexham,
in England that are doing that, but it's a different style, and it's a different moment, it's a different culture. And at the end of the day, it's business, and that may upset a few people. Enrique, let's talk a little bit quickly before we wrap up again about tomorrow. Beyond the United States, what else intrigues you about what we're seeing here? And this would be, and let me make sure I've got my math right, this would be for groups D and E. Sorry, tomorrow will be groups, let me see here. Let me go back to my group, because I knew someone was going to ask me this, Enrique Vasquez, and I knew I wasn't going to be ready, but we'll figure it out. We see it here. Group D, Group E, and Group F. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and then Germany, obviously they're going through that. All of a sudden, who's going to come in second, right? That's still in play tomorrow.
I would love Ivory Coast, Enrique, to find a way to get in there.
Yeah, and for them to join South Africa, right? The confederation that has shown growth throughout the years. Hasn't been consistent with everybody that's showed, other than what Morocco, perhaps, Alex. But yeah,
yes.
I think that tomorrow Germany, see if they can continue on the right track. Who else was tomorrow? Well, obviously the U.S. that we already talked about, but yeah, should be fun. Japan, Sweden. Yeah, Japan, Sweden. That's an interesting one.
Good teams. Well, Sweden got beat up by the Netherlands, Enrique, here in Houston. But the Japanese team, to me, I think is a team that has quality and could potentially go through. Netherlands. But we're watching big teams tomorrow. Germany, Netherlands. I'm going to include now the United States as one of those big teams. That, if I'm not mistaken, those matches for the USA and Turkey and Paraguay and Australia, late games, 9 o'clock. So watch that real quick. Enrique, let me switch gears on you before we kind of wrap up. Coming up in Houston, this is the last match of group stage in Houston. That initially, Enrique, was not a sexy-looking ticket,
Yeah.
but it should be sold out in my opinion. Cabo Verde, Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia. Man, anything's possible here. But when I saw this on the schedule, Enrique, I said, hey, that's the most accessible match for tickets. I think it's going to be full.
68,722, right? It's been the magic number so far for every match. They've hit the number for every match. We'll see what happens for this one. But yeah, it should be a match. Well, they have a chance. They have a chance to advance. So that's always and that's the thing with Houston, or it's a sports fan here in the U.S., Alex. They're sports fans. They know the situation. They know what this implies. So we'll see. The fans turn out. We have a full house, and it'll be good to see all group stage matches here in Houston sold out in what has been success with the Houston Stadium and the reaction that we've had from everybody that's come in here for the first time.
Enrique, you're speaking about everybody. Let's talk a little bit about the media coverage, and I mean the local media coverage. Even the local media coverage by the non-soccer crowd has impressed me. They used to call this kickball. People would joke about, but not really joking about. Hey, I should go to these kickball games because that's the place to gather the illegals. I'm going to say it. Is that changing, Enrique? The mainstream media more aware of what this is? I think a lot of mainstream media, let me put it this way, are at least a little more respectful in the sense of saying, this is pretty cool, number one. And number two, this is big. This isn't just playing at a high school stadium when some promoter from Latin America brought in 10,000 people. This is serious.
Yeah, it may be a little bit of humble pie, right, from people that thought little of soccer and world soccer for that matter before. I think now it's pretty obvious that this is an amazing sport that is played by incredible world-class athletes and the impact that it has on the world. So, kudos to them. I mean, obviously, Alex, for maybe catching up to the rest of us who've been soccer fans all along, and now they get to be a part of it. So I don't know that we want to sit here and ridicule them for any of that. But thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the party. And now grab a beer and let's enjoy it the rest of the way here in Houston.
Grab a cerveza, by the way. We'll call it that. No, it's not an issue of ridicule, Enrique. It's not an issue of saying, look, it's about time you joined this movement. But it is. I think it does speak about. Here's where I'm going with this, Enrique. The past and now with the present and future change relative to coverage. And you and I and Victor have talked about this. How does the local soccer team, the Houston Dynamo of Major League Soccer on the men's side, the Houston Dash of the NWSL on the women's side, capitalize on this energy, on the media coverage, on the attention for the sport? Clearly, it's not like having Sweden and Netherlands or Germany and Curaçao in the stadium, okay? It's not going to be like the round of 16, which will be the culmination of competitiveness here in Houston. But will some of this linger, Enrique, enough so that the sport elevates itself with what we do have here?
Well, the thing is this, I mean, Alex, what will be the measurables for us to consider?
Attendance at stadiums, continued mainstream, if you will, coverage. That's a way to measure this, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, I mean, obviously there's no shortage of soccer fans in the area. I can't believe that, or I can't imagine that, 90% of the people that went to those matches were all, from out of town, Alex. There had to be some Houstonians. Why are they not making it out to Shell Energy to watch the Dynamo? I guess that's the question that the franchise has to ask. Like Victor mentioned, some of these businesses that are complaining about there's no traffic into the stores or shops or restaurants. Well, did you ever cater to that market before? And you just assumed that they were going to walk into your doors now, even though you've never paid attention to them before? So that's the effort that has to be made by everyone. They're not just going to come, but they will come if you have a good product. They will come if you welcome them, if you invite them, Alex. So it goes back to the franchise. They have to simply do a better job. There's no way around it. They're here. The fans are here. They just have to do a better job of cultivating the interest, and that's on them. So they have to step up, because clearly there are plenty of soccer fans here in the Houston market.
Now let's talk about one maybe of the elephants in the room, Enrique. And you and I have lived this for many years. And I'm not going to say this is intentional, and this is a theory of mine, Enrique. You and I have been blessed to work with all the major sports teams in town. Years ago, I think there was a dismissiveness of what soccer was. Oh, again, I love your term. That's cute. And when they were at Robertson, it was okay. Well, they are playing at the university level. When there was a soccer specific stadium built, it was okay. This is getting more serious. Will soccer now have the pull, Enrique? I think to take the competitiveness versus the Rockets, the Astros, the Texans to the next level. And what I mean by that is those competitors versus allies, number one. And number two, this is, to me, is the coup. If I had the opportunity to sit down with the owner of the Dynamo, I'd say, will the sport elevate soccer enough so that you can cover that stadium and increase attendance? Enrique, that's what it's going to take in this market, to me, to grow the sport and sell out those stadiums, to have an air-conditioned stadium. And that comes with political pull, and that comes with money in order to finance it.
And I think it may just be a matter of winning also, Alex. I think that the franchise itself has to just get on a run again. Early on, they first got here, they started winning. People made it out to the stadium, but at that point they didn't have the political backing, I guess, to get a stadium quickly enough.
Right.
But now the franchise, quite honestly, has struggled for quite a while. So until it maybe hits a run of championships, title, or at least contention, Alex, then really we can't even think about building a new stadium. I mean, and then you have to look at what they had to go through in Arlington with the Rangers baseball, right? Games had to start later in the day because it was just too hot. Eventually they made it to where they have a brand new stadium now that's indoors, air conditioned. So yeah, I mean, to play anytime during the day, during the late evening, you need AC. I mean, look at the Astros, and they don't struggle to draw, but they had an excellent run, and they're excellent facilities that are just as old, or actually a little bit older than NRG Stadium, but they're going strong. So yeah, I don't know that these other teams, Alex, consider the Dynamo a rival. They're partners here, another pro franchise, but I don't think that they're hoping that they struggle and steal away their fans. I don't think that they view it in that kind of way at all.
Enrique, some people may not know, and if you don't, friends, I'll let you know. Don Enrique Vasquez, the voice of the Houston Texans. Enrique, when was the last time there was an open roof game for the Texans? And when it does happen, it's once every 3 seasons?
No, you know what? It's been more and more here lately over the last couple of seasons. It just worked out. You get a couple more primetime games,
sure.
So then you have the opportunity to open up the roof
in the evenings.
Houston. Yeah, in the evening. Yeah, for night games, or late in the season. They've had a couple of open roof games. So yeah, it's been a little bit more frequent. I think for a while there they just never opened it. I don't know if it was just a franchise, somebody up, sure. They wanted to keep the stadium louder. I've heard a couple of people say that, but it just worked out that with more primetime games, you can open it up, and it's such a different feel when that roof is open in that stadium, in that building. It's such a different feel. So it's a shame. I don't think any of these next round of 32 and 16 games are going to be late in the day, right? They're all going to be
noon
to where
starts.
the roof, the noon. So the roof is going to be closed regardless. But man, it is such a cool atmosphere when that roof is open. You feel like you're in a whole different building.
That's interesting. Enrique, the next match, which is Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and we've talked about this a little bit, that'll be the only night match that's being held at Houston Stadium for this World Cup.
Yeah.
So,
and right now it's 90 degrees at nighttime anyway, so they're not going to open there.
They're not going to open it, even if it might make Saudi Arabia a little more comfortable, right?
or at home anyway, right?
At home, exactly. Yeah. So that's the last match. Enrique, the last little piece maybe for this evening. As we see the tournament continue to come along, and you and I, again, have been blessed to cover sports, I'm not tired. Right at the point where I'm going to start getting tired is when we're going to start saying, "Oh, it's the count. We're counting
Yeah.
down the days, and it's going to be less and less." I know it's a little too early yet to judge whether Houston or the World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico have been a success. But Enrique, so far so good.
Yeah, so far, I think better than so good. I mean, I think everything that everybody thought was going to be a disaster has been just a plus. The atmosphere in the stadiums have been full. The soccer on the being played on the field has been pretty good, pretty entertaining. A couple of blowout matches, but far fewer, Alex. I think that we considered heading into this tournament when we looked at a field of 48. Right, I think we expected more blowouts. My question to you was, how many 12-1 games are we going to have? You know, but and it hasn't really has a couple of games got away from somebody. You know, Germany here scored 5 the other day, but beyond that, the most of the matches have been competitive. The atmosphere has been really good. A couple of maybe controversial referee calls, but that's par for the course for the World Cup. That hasn't been out of hand, and by far, I think also we've seen the use of technology with the VAR help out some decisions to get the calls correct. So all in all, every way that you look at it, it's been really good.
It has, Enrique, and I think and more you're an actual sports journalist. Victor Araiza, a sports journalist. I don't take myself that seriously. This is entertaining. But if we did find something, a deficiency or something that maybe wasn't what was the expectation or promised, we would call it out. It's so difficult to find anything, Enrique, and that's a good thing. The fields have been immaculate, Enrique Vasquez. The attendance, regardless of the ticket prices, has been there. The coverage and the production have been impeccable, both in English and in Spanish, impeccable. You could pick at something. You could pick at how people can step over each other and the need even to have commentators sometimes. But again, you have to remember the generations that are watching this. Maybe the travel, Enrique, might be the only thing you could say. Listen, traveling those distances is tough for everybody. But all in all, Enrique, it's been a plus for the country. It's been a plus for the city. It's been a plus for the sport, which maybe at the end of the day, that's the most important piece of this. So far, so good, Enrique. Might we find out about a scandal that FIFA's involved with a little bit later? Maybe, maybe not. Will this become political? I understood at some point, if I'm not mistaken, that Infantino said that it would be Trump handing out the World Cup trophy in New Jersey. Does that make it a political event, Enrique? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so, but I'm sure people will want to look at it that way. But it's just, you want to be negative about anything, right?
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of comments actually on the pitch at MetLife. Actually, not only from fans or journalists, but some players. They complained about it being a little bit dry, a little bit inconsistent in how the ball bounced there. And that's where we're going to play the final, unfortunately, maybe. But all these other stadiums, have done a really good job of keeping a good, firm field, consistent field. That was my biggest concern. One of my concerns that I had, how is the pitch going to hold up here in Houston? They've always had issues with it, but this has been completely a non-issue completely. So that's really cool to see. And just moving forward, I'm just excited for what's coming down for all the U.S. sports fans who maybe, have treated this kind of like the Olympics, like we maybe all treat the Olympics. Like we only watch every 4 years. Everybody gets excited about gymnastics once every 4 years.
That's it.
Hopefully this grows beyond that. In that the casual fan can enjoy it. It's in the middle of the days where you can sit there in your office and watch it. Still, you don't have to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch any kind of games like some cups recently. So that's made it easier for the U.S. Sports fan. So hopefully that's where it starts to grow and they get a true appreciation and then a following for all these excellent athletes.
Enrique, is having a Michael Jordan, is having a Tom Brady, is having a superstar an important part of how more people, especially young people, are going to be attracted to the sport? You saw in Arlington the Messi jerseys. You saw in Houston the Cristiano Ronaldo CR7 jerseys. Is that what we need also to continue growing the sport? To have Pulisic, to have Freeman, to have whomever rise and become a superstar that the kids hold as role models, and that we know that's part of the growth and the attention a sport needs.
Well, it certainly helps. It certainly helps. Landon Donovan was only able to accomplish so much, and mainly because the U.S. didn't win. So it's really up upon this squad, this group of players. I don't know that's the golden generation yet, because they haven't accomplished anything, but they're looking pretty good so far, Alex. So if Pulisic and this group of players can make that run, I think Americans like champions. They like winners. So if they can pull off a run, get to the semis, if they could run to the semis, Alex, I think all of a sudden you have that one figurehead that you can put the attention on and be the guy, the face of soccer in this country. I mean that could be really good. But of course, nothing's given. They got to prove it on the pitch. But right now they're looking pretty good to get a good little run going.
Enrique Vasquez, I'm going to dare to dream, especially after Mexico's sweeping the group. I'm going to dare to dream that tomorrow the United States has a good finish to the group stage, that this could be a very special, unique World Cup for those nations. And then we're going to have on this program, I'm sure the conversation about do you have to cheer for one versus the other? And you know my answer, Enrique. You can embrace both. And there is no conflict. There is no issue. There isn't a need to have to put down one jersey for another. We're in a very unique cultural situation, Enrique, where many of us that have Mexican ancestry and backgrounds and culture, I think seamlessly melting into the United States in so many ways, from food to culture to language. It's who we are, Enrique. The other way I'm trying to present this, Enrique, is we've got two chances here to win a championship versus just one.
Right. We have a couple of dogs in a fight,
Exactly.
so it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see. But and the fact that I don't know that any kind of results. I don't think we have to make excuses or not excuses, but just say, well, the only reason they're doing well is because they're at home. I think that what they've shown and how they've played is just merits on their own. On the field, they've taken care of business so far. So France. Nobody said France only won it because they were at home. France all of a sudden has turned since '98 turned into a true soccer power. Alex, I heard a number the other day. 99 French-born players are in this World Cup. Wow. Obviously, not all playing for France, but just French-born players distributed amongst some of the other teams here in the World Cup. I mean, who would have thunk it, right? But starting with winning at home in '98 and where French soccer has grown to, could that be duplicated by the U.S. and Mexico for moving forward out of this tournament?
I think the answer is yes. Enrique, you spoke earlier today about how U.S. eligible players are playing in Europe. And I use that term intentionally because many countries are using eligible players, maybe not necessarily native-born players, but that's no longer a taboo. Enrique, you remember Chivas USA and the concept of having only Mexican-born players play on that team? There was a team back in the NASL days called Team America, and it was competing in the professional American League against the New York Cosmos, the Chicago Sting, the Tulsa Roughnecks, and it was the purpose was to bring in young American players, expose them in a domestic league setting so you could prepare them for the national team. What we're seeing now is, to be perfectly honest, Enrique, and I don't want to go too far with this, even the German team, every team now has many born in Germany, but certainly not generational Germans, generational Dutch, generational Americans. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's who we are, I think, on this planet now, Enrique Vasquez, and that makes us stronger and better. I think maybe the United States should have jumped on that much earlier to develop players and develop a competitiveness. But I don't think it's a bad thing, Enrique Vasquez. And I guess to follow up your point about the French influence, wherever good players can be found, let's do that. And how many players, Enrique Vasquez, in our world are torn or playing between Mexico and the United States and are going back and forth? Ricardo Pepi, born in Texas, with the opportunity to play in both, and of course selecting to play for the United States, but he was being like several other players recruited by the Mexican Federation. So I think that's just our new normal. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, a new normal. Enjoyed also and taken advantage of by Mexico, like you mentioned. Because they're also now finding a nice recruiting base here in the U.S.
Sure.
U.S.-born Mexican, players that are disposable to them.
Men and women, by the way.
Yeah, men and women. Yeah, men and women, and maybe more so on the women's side. So that's cool to see that barriers are broken that way, and now everybody's enjoying an opportunity, and that's been really cool. Yeah.
Cool to see that, and a cool evening, and I mean that as in an awesome evening, a dope evening, Enrique Vasquez. I can use that terminology. Enrique, let's wrap up with this amazing group stage for Mexico. Let's hope USA can repeat that tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping that tomorrow, instead of this green over my shoulder, I'm gonna turn that to blue. and after US win, it's been fun to stay up and watch all these matches late, and US gets a primetime. Do we call it a primetime showing?
Sure.
Once again?
Sure. Tomorrow night it'll be later than we expected or that we wish in many ways, but the show keeps going on. Enrique, it's always great to be with you. Thank you, my friend. You're amazing, and your knowledge is second to none.
Oh wow!
Well, let's not go crazy.
Don't go overboard.
You're right there.
Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy.
You're pretty close to Victor and Isa, which is important. We do miss Victor. Thanks to our production staff, to Victor, to Katie, so many people that make this happen. And at the end of the day, friends, thanks to all of you that take the time to be with us, to follow us. Send us your questions, your comments, and please continue watching us here. We call this Live at Night Soccer Talk. So on behalf of Enrique Vasquez, I'm Alex Parra. Thanks to all of you for watching us, for following us. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.